Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I went from this to this in just a little under 7 months. Stick around to find out how. Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet and all things related to the carnivore diet and a few other miscellaneous odds and ends. By the time you're watching this, which will be tomorrow or Tuesday, December the 6th, it will be my 7-month carniversary. I will have been doing this exactly 7 months. So we're going to talk a little bit today about some of the things I've learned in the 7 months and some of the unexpected things also that happened during the 7 months. First, if you're new here, I want to say thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy your time here. If you're a returning viewer, thank you also. I'm very happy that you are here. First thing I need to talk about today is a big shout out to John. Thank you very much, John, for donating to the channel. That means so much to me. I can't tell you how much that means. As you can see, I am here at the church parking lot. It's actually kind of late in the day. It's coming up on 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I had planned on going out to the park today to do a trail hike, but I'll show you when I get around back. I bumped into Brother Jorge while I was loading things up in the truck to go over to the park, and we talked for a few moments, and as I always do, I said, "Is there anything I can help you with today, Brother Jorge?" And he said yes. And that turned into about an hour and a half project. He's still working on the smaller sections, but he needed my help to hold things in place. He's got I'm not exactly sure why, but he's got this big plastic tubing stuff that he's kind of cut down the side and then installing on top of the chain link fence around the preschool playground. So if the kids aren't out, I'll spin the camera around and show you what he's working on. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe some kid got their finger caught in the top of the fence or something. I don't know, but it's not my place to ask why. If he asks for help, I give it to him. So that got kind of late, and I actually drove over to the park because it was supposed to clear off, but as you can see behind me, it has not cleared off. It's kind of a dark, gloomy day, and you see I've got my heavy blue coat on, so it's about 45, 50 degrees out, which is not super cold by anyone's standard. Well, unless you live down in Florida. But with the cold and the gloomy, I decided not to do a hike outside over at the park today, because you get back in those trees and it gets even darker, and it's hard to get a video that even looks semi-acceptable. And today's is going to be questionable anyway. As you saw yesterday's video, I ended up having to basically scratch all the footage that I had taken, and I made a little cooking video because it was a lot like this yesterday. I'm hoping this comes out because I really want to get some walking in and show it to you guys. And then I won't say it was a mistake, because it wasn't. It was what I'd planned to do. Today is Miss Jessica's birthday. Well, it was yesterday, but you know what I'm saying. So, as I do for some people, and of course she was sitting in the youth center chatting with her husband, and her sister Ashley was there, and all the kids were sitting up front kind of watching TV. And it looks like Brother Jorge found him a younger helper. Oh, yeah, so as I step over what he's got laid out here for the project, since the kids aren't out, I'm just going to turn around and show you. See that black on top of the fence there? That's more of it here. I guess he's going to go all the way around. But anyway, so I went inside and sang happy birthday to Jessica. Because I've done that for a few people. I called up my sister a couple of years, and of course back when she was working she was never home, but I left happy birthday on her answering machine. What I didn't count on, all I was going to do was just sing happy birthday to Jessica. And her sister Ashley is one of the soloists at the church. She does what they call specials. That's when just before the sermon somebody gets up. It's not a choir song, it's a solo song. They get up and sing. And she has a beautiful voice. And after I get done singing to Jessica, she looks at me and says, "Why aren't you in the choir?" I said, "I'm only here half the year." She's like, "You need to start coming to choir practice." And then, because I don't know how to say no to people, she said, "We should sing a duet together. We should do a special." So, I've got that coming up at some point in the future. Not sure if I'll end up putting that video footage on here or not. But one of the best soloists in the church seems to think I've got an adequate voice. So we'll see. But that was kind of a shock, and that my day has not gone at all how I expected. But we're coming down in front of the church here, and I haven't even started talking about the topic for today. So sorry about all that rambling, but now it's time to get into the topic. And one of the biggest unexpected things that I had happen to me in the last 7 months is you guys. I'm still dumbfounded every time I open up my YouTube studio to upload, the next day's video, and I see stacks and stacks of comments that need to be answered, and stacks of likes, and stacks of new subscribers. I mean, I thought it had finally slowed down and stalled out a couple of weeks ago. Might even been just a week ago. My memory's getting bad as I get old. But I thought I'd stalled at like about the 2,350 mark. It'd been holding there, fluctuating up and down, up one, down two, up two, down one. So kind of staying in the same spot. And then over the last week or so, it's jumped up. I've picked up about another 250 subscribers. Just blows me away how many of you want to listen to what an old retired truck driver has to say. But I do thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I always wondered where that saying came from the bottom of my heart. It seems to me like you'd want to thank somebody with your whole heart. But we're getting off topic again here. So yeah, but the community that we've got going here is the biggest shocker I've had in the 7 months. Now, of course, for all the people that tuned in just to hear the stats, I go over these an awful lot. But we'll do it again here just in case this is your first time visiting the channel and you haven't watched any of my other videos. The biggest side effect of 7 months of carnivore diet is I'm down 117 pounds. I've not had a single gout attack the entire time. My diabetes is gone. I do not have type 2 diabetes anymore. It is completely cured. The last time I said that, well, the first time I said that, a couple of times ago, I had people jumping in my comments saying, it's not cured. It's just not being triggered because you're eating low carb. But if you start eating carbs again, your diabetes will come roaring back. And that may or may not be true. But as I discussed in my after Thanksgiving fail video, I had a piece of pecan pie and 2 pieces of really good pumpkin spice cake. And the second piece of that pumpkin spice cake was literally just before I started the drive back out here. And by the time we got back to Barb's house, and then I got into my truck and got all the way back out here, it'd been about 2 hours since I had that piece of cake. And I don't remember if my blood sugar was 82 or 84. I know it was low 80s. So I will have to say that my diabetes is completely cured. Now, I'm sure if I were to go back to eating a standard American diet, loaded up with carbs, that I would be more susceptible to developing it again. But I'm not ever planning on doing that. And because of the 2 pieces of cake and the piece of pecan pie, I'm a little more convinced than ever. Well, carbs are still bad, very bad. I'm more convinced than ever that what I've said in several videos about the single most destructive advice to the American people over the last 20 years has been that we should eat 5 or 6 small meals a day, or have our 3 meals plus 3 little snacks in between. And I understand the theory behind that, but that's extremely destructive advice because you're eating all day, your insulin stays high all day. And we've talked about this many times. When your insulin's high, you're in storage mode. So everything you eat that you're not burning right away, and burning's a bad word. We don't actually burn anything. We oxidize it. I just say burn for the ease and convenience. But all of that energy we're taking in that we're not using right away gets stored as fat. So that's why your insulin constantly being high is horrible for you. There's many other reasons, but they're all sciencey reasons. And we all know Bob doesn't really do science very well. So we'll just leave it at that. So where was I? Yes, I was going around. I was talking about things that have changed in 7 months. My fatty liver is completely gone. Liver markers are better than they've been in a decade. Stage 1 chronic kidney disease, also gone. Liver markers, better than they've been in a decade. Now, in full disclosure, I have had a couple of kidney stones, but I have always had kidney stones. Most kidney stones are calcium oxalate. It's the oxalates from all the plants that you're eating. And they've been building up inside of me for 40 plus years. So it's probably going to take, it could take as much as a decade to get rid of it all. A little bit of a jump in the video there. Pastor pulled in and was talking on his phone. I have no idea who he was talking to. It's none of my business. But I didn't want to accidentally have his conversation show up in the background. So I walked a couple of steps on by him and restarted the video. Yeah, just checking to make sure I restarted the video. I did. Trying to think. Oh yeah, my arthritis, 90% better. My spinal stenosis, 95% better. I actually just noticed the last couple of nights, because I've always, for the last decade or so, when I first lay down in bed, I have to kind of lay there and wait for my back to adjust to being in a new position. It's always been extremely painful when I first lay down. And then over the course of 3 to 5 minutes, it adjusts to its new position and it stops hurting. I have not noticed that nearly as much the last couple of days. So that may be starting to correct a little bit more. So that's, I think that's about all. Oh, yeah, well, and of course the obvious thing, the whole thing that these videos are about. When I first started Carnivore Diet, I started it because I was hoping to stand for more than 2 to 2.5 minutes without severe pain in my back. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you see that I'm not only walking every day, but several days a week, going out hiking on a trail. The mileage varies from day to day, depending on how I'm feeling, how cold it is, and everything else. But now, instead of not being able to stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes, 4 miles seems like a small day of walking, and 6.5 to 7 miles is on the high end. I've gone over 7 a couple of times, once on purpose, once on accident. So that's the biggest result. Some of the other things, well, one of the other things that I did that I do not recommend to anybody, and that's jump straight in. And what I mean by that is, do not transition like I did straight into the carnivore diet from a standard American diet. Now, nothing bad is going to happen to you long term. It's not like it's going to damage your health. You'll just have, as I did, the first 2 weeks, let's just say, you don't want to get very far from the bathroom, because those urges will come suddenly and explosively. After that, I could control it so it wasn't quite so urgent. But I had those issues for a couple of months while my gut microbiome adjusted to the new diet. So, as several people that I highly respect their opinion on have said, you should slowly convert yourself to a carnivore diet. And you won't have nearly as many problems. A lot of people talk about that as the keto flu. But that's a bad name, because as Professor K says, you're going to have those types of symptoms regardless of what you do if you are making a sudden change to your diet. I mean, I suspect if I quit carnivore today and went back to the standard American diet, which I'm not going to do, but if I did that without transitioning into it, I would probably have the same issues I had when I started carnivore. I can tell it's still pretty cold out here. I think I'm going to have to take a little break after this lap. So I think, was there anything else that we needed to talk about in the 7 months? Talked about the weight loss, the side effects, the community, the improvements to my health. I forgot my note sheet again. It's not that far away, but once I get to talking, I just kind of go with it. But yeah, let's go ahead and cue the music.
the first Noel, the angels did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay, keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the
Okay, cut the music.
King of...
Thank you. Remember, I wanted to back up and talk to you a little bit about movement, exercise. I talked about this a couple of days ago. We'll talk a little bit about fasting in tomorrow's video, but I want you to approach movement the same way I've talked in previous videos about fasting. Don't force anything. Don't say, okay, I've been doing this for a month now, it's time for me to get out there and start exercising. Just listen to your body. You know, at some point, for me it took 4 months. But at some point, your body's just going to say, okay, I feel like I'm ready to move. And your brain is going to agree with that. And at that point, you can start adding some movement in, whether it be, you know, going up and down the stairs a couple of times, or walking out to the mailbox twice instead of once, or walking down to the corner and back, which is where it started for me, and look where I'm at now. So you don't have to start big. You know, it's not like I'm telling you when your body says it's time to start moving, you don't have to go, you know, go to the gym and spend 5, 6, 7 hours a day in the gym. You don't. Just add a little movement. And then add a little more. And when your body's ready, it will let you know that you can add a little more. That's all you got to do. But that's all we really wanted to talk about today. I hope I covered everything I meant to cover. I came back out of the trailer after my little water stop and still didn't bring my note sheet with me. So that is probably it for today. Have a great day, guys. Don't forget to get out there and be 1% better today. I will see you tomorrow. See, you stuck around for a little bit. Oops, it's upside down. I got a Christmas card from Brenda. Thank you so much, Brenda. You guys remember I told you that my end tables came in? There's end table number 1. There's end table number 2. And then the dresser came in today. I got it all put together. There's end table number 3. Yes, I still have my drugs. I don't take it. I only take one of them. But I paid for them. I'm not going to throw them away in case something goes wrong, but I don't expect it to go wrong. But for those of you that saw my video where I showed you the quick tour of my trailer before, this was big ugly plastic totes. These actually hold more, and I have a little bit more foot room here. My feet were like this with the plastic totes, so I've gained about 5 or 6 inches of foot space here. So that's what I wanted to show you at the end of today's video. It ended up being a fairly short day walking. I only got 5.25 miles in, but that was enough because I had to put that thing together too. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.